today I thought I would do my couch talk in the Casterable studio, just to remind you guys that I do have a YouTube channel where you can watch all of my podcasts. So today I want to talk about a very gentle reminder about your ego. Ego can be a very tricky thing, and it actually reminds me of this one story in this book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's by Clarissa Pencola Estes. I did do a podcast on one of her stories a few weeks ago, if you want to go check that out. And I did like a whole thing, a previous podcast on the book, but it's a very big book, so there's lots of content. So one of the stories in this book is about, it's called Soulskin, Sealskin. Or the other way around. Sealskin, Soulskin, yes. It's about this very cold and dark place where this very lonely man lives. And he's very lonely, he's very sad. He tries to be happy, but he can't. And as he's going out one day to go fish, he ends up being there past sunset, out in the water, and he sees this display on a rocky ridge of females dancing, and he's mesmerized, and they're so beautiful. And he sneaks closer and then discovers sealskins scattered about, and he realizes that these females he's seeing dancing so beautifully is seals. So he takes one of the sealskins and goes to hide. And when there's only one left, after everyone else left, she's searching for her sealskin. He comes out and he says that she should marry him. And then after 7 years, he will give her her sealskin back, and then she can return to the ocean. So she agrees, and they get married, and they have a baby. But as the years go by, she grows weaker and paler and thinner and more unhealthy. She is blind, almost, and they have a bit of a falling out. The man doesn't want her to leave, obviously, because now they have a child, and she'd be selfish to leave. How could she do that? And the child actually overhears this all and runs out to find the sealskin, and he brings the sealskin back to her. So there's so many ways that you can interpret the story. So my interpretation, and I think it's mostly in alignment with the book's interpretation, is in this story, the man is ego, the sealskin is being, and the woman is authenticity. So, or your wild woman, it's the true self. And all of these elements live within you. But if authenticity gets married to ego, and the ego takes away her sealskin or beingness, it leads to the detriment of authenticity. So in other words, if you are so involved with your ego and you are continuously in your mind trying to calm your mind, because your ego is your mind, it's who you perceive yourself to be, it's all of the jibber jabber in your head about what you should do, what you shouldn't do, all of the rules of society. It's this little tiny box that you're put in, the ego. So what the ego does to authenticity is if the ego is too strong, it steals your beingness. And authenticity is lived out through beingness. It's lived out through the moment, throughout being present. So if the ego is so strong, your ego is so strong that it continues to lift you out of the present moment, it continues to lift you out into your head, into stresses of the future, or going back into the past and being depressed and anxious and all of these seemingly human things, it kills your authenticity, because your authentic self is in the present, is in the now. And the only way for you to break free from that is to kind of find a mutual ground between ego and authenticity. And that's where they had the child in the story. You get something that speaks to both your authenticity and your ego. A middle ground. Something that kind of rekindles your authentic self again. Sometimes it'll happen in a special project, or sometimes it'll happen in a moment or in a trauma. But suddenly there's room again for your authenticity to creep up, to creep out. There's room for your authenticity to be present. And there's no other way to live life. We need to be authentic to ourselves. We need to be authentic to who it is that we want to be, that we are, and that we want to be. We make up our own rules, and we can't give to ego the whole time. Ego is a very good tool. It's a tool that we can use, but sometimes we give it too much power. And that leads to the detriment of our authenticity, and it makes us unhappy. It makes us feel stuck in places where we don't want to be. And that's when you have to start searching for that sealskin again, for that beingness, to return to your authentic self. And sometimes it can be really hard, because there's a lot of choices that we make in life that make it seem that we're stuck somewhere. But in reality, we're never really stuck if we are present. Presence sets us free. So even if your outer circumstances don't necessarily reflect what you authentically want or need, just starting with being present in those circumstances is already a step away from ego and a step towards your authentic self. So that's just a little gentle reminder, guys, to not take yourself so seriously, because the self here is ego. It's the ego that causes all the drama and the frustration and the anxiety. Whenever that creeps up, just be present. That really does go a long way. Okay, my loves, that is all for today. Please remember to go check out my YouTube channel, Cast to Ripple Podcast. The link is in my bio. And I will chat to you guys again in a week's time. Okay, all my love. Bye.